Hello everybody, how are you? Right, it's a Sunday morning. I've just basically woke up. You know, it's not the average type of video I'll do because I have a tendency of doing a lot of games. But today, I'm going to be installing. Uh, you know what? I'm not with it yet. Let me just give me a coffee going because I've decided what to do. I actually, in a previous video, have installed Windows 98, which to me personally, this is the second edition version. And to me seems to be the best that Microsoft ever done. My personal choice. I first started out developing software and installing operating systems. I'm actually a tech engineer as well. I'm not Microsoft certified. All that was just a ploy to get money out of you, because you know what Microsoft are like. But I worked with servers. I worked with all sorts of things over the years. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a trip down memory lane. I might actually install Visual Basic 6. Oh, sounds like it. Ouch. Obviously I've not got the emulation right. It's still at 39%. Oh my god. You know what that sounded like a minute ago? Like engineers with diggers. Sorry guys, I've got a real sarcastic I'm just gonna leave me with it for a second while I go on. I don't think you can see what I'm doing at the moment because I think it hides. I'm actually in the control panel changing the ISO image because I want to look for Visual Studio 6, which I think was the best programming version that they've done. You've done all these .NET ones and they're not very good to me. I think you've got all sorts of limitations, but it was more built towards newer operating systems which can't really stand alone. They require a certain level of I don't know if you can hear a motorbike. There's a motorbike outside. We've got a bunch of kids next door and all they do all day long is make lots of noise. Anyway, we're just going on Visual Studio, Office 97, okay, professional. US, Visual Studio, Visual Basic. Give me a sec, guys, while I Service Pack 6. Crap, right. Where is it? Is it here? I know it's an ISO. Where's the ISO? Oh my. I take it 1.2 gigabytes. That looks like it. Alright, let's have a look. What have we got here? You can obtain this from archive.net or archive.org, is it? Right, what we got here? Is it loading? Service Pack 6. What's in here? There's the files. Okay, I think that's it. Set up SP6. That's Service Pack 6. No, it isn't. It's the oh, bear with me, guys. I'm not with it yet. What's this one? 270, 31 gigabytes. It's amazing, really. Like when I first got Visual Basic, right? The Visual Basic what first came out, version 1.0. It only came on about some like 3 floppies, floppy disk, 1.4 megabytes, and I think it was highly compressed. It was something that I think the compression utility and the setup program was revolved around. There's a guy called Dave Plummer, which is a software developer who worked for Microsoft during the days of the 16-bit era. You know, I think he started off at MS-DOS and he worked his all the way up to. Anyway, if you want to find him on YouTube, he's called Dave Plummer, and he's called Dave's Garage. There's a guy with a beard. or a sort of a shade stubble debate. But he's very good. If you are an interest in something, listen to what he's got to say. He's really good. Anyway, I'm just going to service part CSPC. Right, that's MSDN. Microsoft Digital Network. Why are all the... Is it MSDN? Huh? What's going on here? Give me a sec. Oh, right, is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. There we go. Oh, that's the library. Dog poo, sorry. I'm not having a good morning this morning. Let's have a look. Yeah, I would say that Visual Basic VB6 was the best. I like VB5. I wrote a lot of code with VB5 and a lot of code with VB6. Visual Basic Studio. What's going on here? I got 1 second. It's weird this. VB's Video Basic Studio. I think I found it. Yeah, I've got an Enterprise edition. I've got a Professional edition. Blah. Right, so let's go for it. I think we're cooking. There you go. Right. So we'll do the install. Right. The override code is 1, 2, 3. And all the ones. That was like an override code. Dink. There we go. Right. There is a couple of them. I don't know whether or not it was just something that was built into the actual package, or whether or not Microsoft just put them in for engineers, so you don't have to get the keys. But yeah, I've had this. I've actually got the official disc somewhere, proper. We call them the burgundy discs. Because when I was working in the IT suites, we all got the series of engineering samples and official, because we were partners to Microsoft at the time. I used to write a lot of code for companies regarding all this kind of stuff, and they used to drop us all the samples, sample discs, full versions. I think the full version of Windows 95 I first got was a burgundy disc. Burgundy discs, yeah. Takes me back, that does. I want a self-extracting distribution. You see, the thing is, you can write self-extraction distribution files and they hold all the settings for. You could actually still write Visual Basic Studio, Visual Studio. So I only write with Visual Basic now. I can write with C++. I've never used Fox Pro or Interdevice, but I can use C++. I can write in C++. I can write in C# and all that. I used to write, for Arduinos and stuff, but I've always stuck with Visual Basic for some strange reason. Because I think it's because I started off, obviously, when I began writing code was around the 80s, early 80s, and it was the basic interpreter, which was built obviously into most of the ROMs of 8-bit computers. So when you'd switch it on, it was there, it was ready to go, and I would write programs in my teens. I'm in my 50s now. Pardon me if you can hear me drinking, because I've just, I'm just partially woke up, so. Yeah, I first started off with a computer called a ZX81, or in American terms, a ZX81. It's just the terminology, isn't it? But I wrote a lot of code back then when I was in my, I think it was about 11 or 12, when I first started programming. I obviously at a young age. There really was when I was at school. They never really had. They had the BBC-Bs and they had the. I don't think they had masters. I don't think the masters were out when I converted. We didn't see. I think I saw a couple of Spectrums knocking around. They did try to get them into schools where I lived in a place called Manchester, and it wasn't as popular as the BBC because obviously the BBC won the rat race, if you want to call it that, the fight towards getting computers into schools with the teachings of the BBC computers for schools thing. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, obviously Acorn got the deal and was able to build 8-bit computers for schools. So obviously these and they were quite a robust machine. You know, they had the cream case, and they were pretty hefty machines. And they were shipped with a monitor. Well, they weren't always shipped with a monitor. A majority of people, or the majority of the colleges, got supplied. They bought these computers with a screen, and a lot of kids, a lot of my generation, that's how we began programming. You know, not directly through the BBC, but we were able to buy computers at a cheap price, like the ZX Spectrum, like the Commodore 64. Now Commodore obviously is American. The Atari XL, XE, them kind of things. And then we had, then obviously it moved to 16-bit. But yeah, I done a lot of coding on that. Yeah, it was quite a good little computer, that. The BBC. It was the only computer that I come across where you could write assembly language directly into the interpreter of BBC Basic. You just like open up a command set within your line numbers and actually literally write in machine level into the actual into the actual editor, which was pretty good. It was quite a revolutionary. I can't remember his name. The guy who created it, because a lot of computers of that area, like Apple and stuff, they didn't do floating point arithmetic properly in the processors or in the programming language. I think Steve Wozniak did manage it in the end, but earlier versions of the Apple didn't have the floating point arithmetic. So in other words, you give it a mathematical equation and it wouldn't work it out correctly. And I think that was a problem with the earliest ZX81s, which was the version prior to the before the Spectrum. That was a ZX81. That's actually what I learned to program on first. I didn't use machine code because you was only limited to what you could write with the ZX81. You only had 1K. It was ahead of its time. That Clive Sinclair really was hit at a good time for the market for them. They wanted a computer. You see, what it is everyone's attitude in the UK was we're on a budget. So in other words, we've not got enough money to buy certain items. So one of the main goals, what Microsoft. Sorry, I'm just going on to fold. One of the main goals of computers back then was to try and compete against each other. And one of the main things was the Sinclair's ZX81 had to be, or Sinclair's computers had to be at a certain price point. Right, okay. And I think the main one was that I think Microsoft had, and Microsoft, I'm still going on because I'm looking at it, you see. Sinclair had their first point was the ZX80, ZX81s, and they were sold at a price. There was two versions. There was a kit computer which you built yourself. You know, you got all the components in bags, and all you do is you just assemble it and solder it all together. But those were for hobbyists, and then obviously you got a full version. So I just visual say leave me for a second while I sort this out, because I want samples. Actually, you can install this on later versions of Windows, but you have to use the crack for, because some of certain runtimes don't run on for 6, and the Microsoft Microsoft Developers Network, sorry, don't actually run properly because they changed the help functions, or the filing system for help in later versions of Windows. I think it was either Windows 10 or Windows 11. You couldn't actually use the Microsoft diagnostic, Microsoft Developers Network help files. You'd have to use a crack for it. Anyway, going back to Sinclair. Sinclair's, they were selling kit computers and they were selling products. So in other words, you got a Kcin, you got a computer, you got the cables and all that kind of stuff, and all you done was just basically plug it in. You see what Microsoft, you see what Sinclair were doing was targeting both markets, hobbyists, which was always something what Clive Sinclair done, because he started off with radios and calculators and systems you built yourself. Right, originally it was Sinclair Radionics, wasn't it? And then it became Sinclair of Cambridge. That's where Tim Curry left Sinclair and set up a company with Hauser. I can't remember his full name. He was then that's when they found Acorn Computers, and he's the one that sort of created the first ever kit computer, Tim Curry, or he was involved in it. His vision was to build a computer, what people wanted to program and to learn and stuff. You know, it's like basically that's how I basically started writing code on circuit boards. And that's why I don't use it nowadays. I write code just basically for websites and code. Oh, excuse me, Visual Studio and stuff. But I can write machine level. I can write other languages. You know, I can write in HTML, I can write in C++, Sharp, some obscure programming languages. I can use all sorts. But the main primary one, obviously, with the main market, was the basic environment. And that's what Sinclair wanted to do with their computers, was to give hobbyists the chance to either build them or learn to program them. Because these Sinclair computers first came out as only having a minimum. It was built to a level which was really, really cheap. You know, I think if I remember rightly, the kit farm computer, the kit farm ZX81, which was obviously the newer version, there was all sorts of problems with the ZX80. You could usually get that with prototypes, but with the second version, the ZX81, which had the 1K and the 4K ROM, there was but I can't remember whether or not it was the ZX80 or the ZX81 who had the floating point math problem. I think it was the ZX80. But I think there was early versions of the ZX81 had the same, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I wrote a lot of code with them, even though you were only limited. Thank God the ZX Spectrum came along. Now I did have a ZX. I've had quite a few ZX Spectrums over the years, writing a lot of code. I was a what do you call them? The backroom programmer. I didn't work for any big corporations, big companies. Didn't develop games. See, the whole idea back then was to make money, was to be at a young age working for a software house like Ocean, like US Gold, like in Imagine Interactive and all these kind of things, Gremlin. All these companies were hiring kids to write the code because one, it was cheap. Two, it wasn't the market yet. It wasn't ready because the market is now a multi-billion pound market now. But back then, kids were happy if they were on £200 a week, which is like the standard for wages now actually for kids. But yeah, I did know people. I did know developers at certain companies like at Ocean Software. I think I know the Bitmap brothers. I knew the Oliver twins. I didn't know Jonathan Dunn, but I knew his brother, he worked at Ocean. I knew a couple of others. I'm actually not too sure. I could be wrong, but I think it's Stephen Dunn owns Big Fish. I might be wrong. It's just something I come across. Whether or not but I've not seen him in 30, maybe 40 years now. So long ago. But Big Fish Games. I'm sure he's the owner of Big Fish Games now. But I work with him. But I knew Stephen Dunn because he had his brother who's Jonathan Dunn. Jonathan was the guy who done all the music files for Ocean products, Batman and all that kind of thing. Yeah. You're talking decades now. Where it takes me back, that does. It takes you years. I'm just changing the subjects. I've actually got ADHD, so I change. I talk about something, then suddenly change to something else. But I think it's the ADHD, or it's I've got some form of autism that way. Apparently, there's a lot of people who've got it, like an autism on that way. They'll write code and they get into computers because I think it's something to keep you focused, because it seems to keep me focused. I can write code and I can start it and finish it and then tweak it later and lose interest. If you recognise on my channel, I play a lot of video games and I'll do certain things. I used to hack games and all sorts. I used to write what do you call them? The cracks for him. And then I just lost interest. It's no point. It's all internet based now. The fact being that you can just go online and download the game and then crack it. Because one of the things what these computer companies were trying to do was try and stop you from copying files. But nowadays, it's nothing that, because most internet, it comes down a tube, you know what I mean? It comes down a wire and just gets installed onto your computer. Then you just export all the files. Not like when I first started out, when you talk about Spectrums and the Sinclair computers, the Amstrad. I never had, wait a minute, did I have an Amstrad? I think I had the 6128. I never had the 464s. There's one thing I do know is about old computers. I did have Commodore 64s because I wrote in 6502. I had Amigas. I have had 7 Amigas. And there was one particular guy. Oh my word! This was about before I left the UK to go to the Philippines, because I live in the Philippines now. One of the things that I used to do was buy and sell on eBay. I I've built a couple of computers, repaired them and sold them online. I actually sold to one guy. I don't know whether he's listening, he might do, you never know. There was a guy who was on eBay and he bought my Amigas off me. I had 4 Amigas. I think it was 4 Amigas. Yeah, I think it was. I had a 1200, I had a 600 and 2 500. Unless he bought the 1 500. Because I do remember I had also a 500 plus. Which was the one that had the built-in clock. I sold them to this guy at a cheap price, £200 for these 3 computers. This was going back about 2012, I think. Something like that. And what he was doing was he was taking the motherboards out of the casings and putting them in PC casings because they can be adapted. And he was selling them abroad. He was selling them in America and getting a good price for them. But the ironic thing is that when I got his name, I thought, nah, it can't be right. Actually, it was. His name was James Bond. And if you're out there, James, hello. I hope you're okay. Yeah, James Bond, his name was. And I asked him, did you obviously get any confusion about, because of obviously his name was James Bond, and obviously it was created by Ian Fleming, wasn't it, James Bond? Who was actually a little bit of a secret for you guys. He was actually an agent for MI6 and Ian Fleming. That's why he based a lot of the films what you watch were based on real life. You know, nutters all controlling the world. Now, if you look what's going on in the world now, it's not far away. But yeah, moving back to Acorn, they were a good computer. I actually had a couple of Acorn Electron. I had an Acorn Electron, and my friend's mother wanted me to write a game. Do you know the bomber game where he just like a little plane flies over and destroys buildings? Well, I developed one of them for him, one for her, should I say? But and I had a couple of. I've had quite a few computers in my time, and then I settled down and had 2 kids, and then all that went out the window. I went working in the textile industry, was a complete change from writing software. I worked for a bad employer. Right, okay. Visual Basic Studio. Okay. I think you just go next in it. Alright, okay. So, package, front page extensions. I don't need it. I've actually got front page somewhere because I've got Office. NT option pack, you don't need that. For Windows. Oh, okay. Alright. No. Okay, register now. No, I think that's a bit out of date. Okie dokie, we're good to go. Right, so we should have, now I've finished talking for a bit, I can eject the CD. Dink, there we go. Right, so obviously, how much did that take up? Does it create its own folder? No, it's in the program files, isn't it? Which one is it? Oh, just out of curiosity, how much did it use up? There it is. How much did it use? 627 mega. Oh, yeah, about 527 megabytes. Right. Alright, okay. Are these actually... You know, it's been such a long time. Which of these are there? Right, okay, so they're just waste. Are they just waste? Are they all waste? Yeah, they are. I can just get rid of this folder, actually. Uninstall information. I don't think there's any... Yeah, I know. They're just set up ready to go if you want them. You can actually delete them, actually. What was that then? Uninstall information. That can go. You don't need that. There's nothing in there. It'll just, if it needs it again, it'll just create the folders. Theme plus, what's in there? Alright, okay. So these are, You know what? I'm actually tempted to install with it 98 plus. That was quite good. That. No, I might do that in the next video actually. What we're going to do first here now, I'm going to set up the folders. Excuse me. Got program, Visual Basic, put it on the desktop. Developer network, we've already got that, but I think that's built into it. We'll go to package and deployment. I'm actually running off automatic at the moment. It's what I used to set up when I first started out. Got folders. I might actually create a folder on it. Oh, there's that swap file. How much is that? 2 gig? Yeah, 2 gig. Are they both 2 gig? Actually, in a previous video, what I basically done, if people are wondering what I'd done was set that up, it's hiding the folder here. I've set up basically it's a cache memory. I edited it myself because it does help on machines. How much memory have I got on this? I can't remember whether it's 512 meg it's emulating on this. Is it 512? Oh, it's 1 gig. Alright, okay. So, and I gave it 2 gig. So I always double the amount of what's in physical memory. It's something I learned when I was in college. Or when I met this IT lecturer in college and he was telling me about it. Because one of the things I was involved with is writing the software for certain memories, extended memory, you know, smart drives and stuff like that. I learned a lot about it to make it a bit more performance like, because on an old machine this is just it seems to be a little bit faster at the moment, and it was the way you set up cache memory. I don't think have I got any working folders? No, I don't think it allows you to share folders. No, I've not got it set. I could do, but that's just a learning curve for another video. I can't be bothered getting into networking. So I'm just going to carry on with what I'm doing. So we go to here. I've got Windows. What I've basically done here is I copied the 98 folders on here, so then you don't have to ask. This was a little secret what you could do with 95 and 98. I think ME done the same as well. You had all the cab files on a drive, and then what happened is if you ask for your CD, you just point to that instead of having to hunt the CD out. Right, okay, so we've got Visual Basic. Let's go mine stuff for a moment. Whoops. My stuff. Let's go and line up the folders. Oh, line up. There we go. Bing. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to launch Visual Basic. This was such a good language. You could run it with controls. Yeah, there was all sorts of things you could do with it. I never, you know what? I remember writing code, and I never used any of these other ones like the wizard, because you could write your own code, but add in menus and stuff automatically through the wizard. But I used to just like run it there. There you go. There's the form. A lot of us waited so much because, like, I first started off writing in Quick Basic on the PC. Let's write a timer. So we'll take. I'm gonna put what they call a watchdog timer. So we've got a clock, and we're gonna click on the timer, and we'll just do a small label. We'll resize it because we're gonna give stuff into it So I'll just fill up that one, be in label. Data, that'll do. Label data. And we need to change the font size. Oh, mama. Oh. I'll just go big font. Yeah, there we go. There's the time. We're going to set up that. So, label data. What we've done? Is it text? Caption. Was it caption? Wait. I'm assuming that'll just come up and say wait. Oh, or is it text? Caption. Was it caption or text? Oh, it is caption. Okay. What? It's one of the things. What was it? A caption. It is caption. Alright, okay. To load. Label data. Dot caption equals. Yeah, that's right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, label 1. Oh, okay. So basically, yeah, I'm a bit rusty. Give me time. Right, okay, so it's label data. That'll run. Now it should just give me weight, which it does. I'll just go whoops, label data dot alignment equals I think it was 2. I'm basically alignment, so it's centralized. Bear with me, guys, because it's been a long time since I last wrote in Visual Studio. Sizable thing we can just. Oh right, okay. So we're in the justify 0. Is it 1? Or center? Center was 2. I thought it was 2. Right. 2. So it should be now centralized. There you go. Centered. Right. Okay. Easy enough. Now what we need to do is we need to activate. I'll just split them off. And then we'll go timer. Timer 1 dot enabled equals false for the moment. Timer 1 dot interval, which is 1,000ths per second. So it's using MIPS. There we go. And then we go. I'll activate the timer. In fact, I might activate the timer now. You can do it with all sorts of things, but like I'm just showing it basically. So let's reline. So we're just gonna do start. Voila. This is just me demonstrating. So on this particular case, if Label. Which label is it? I'm just going to do it the old way. So that's label what? I'm not going to do the Microsoft tried and tested way. Command 1. If command 1. Whoops. Dot text, is it? Or is it caption? Caption equals start, then then end if. There's one thing I do like about the new programming languages. The end if would be added. You know, the if end statement, the for next statements, and all that would be right. End if. Alright, copy C, stop, and then copy C, start. So basically what you'd get, the timer's not available yet, but if you go click, there you go, look. So it's just a toggle. That's how we used to do it back then. And then what we can do is we can go timer, start to stop, and then we go timer 1.enabled equals true. Enabled equals true. And same with that one. So I'm just working off memory at the moment. Timer 1.enabled equals false. So in other words, it's just toggling it on and off. Actually, I could I might do that actually. Okay, let's just go. It's label data for color. Is it? Is it for color? For color equals. Hey, my gum, this is going back some years. For fill color. For color. We need a palette and we just need green. Okay. So we just get copy that. It's just in hex. Right. Okay, okay. Now obviously that's not quite green, is it? Is it red, green? I think it works backwards, doesn't it? So if that would be the more likely green. So it should be quite a strong green. Oh. It's more of a blue, that, isn't it? Red, green, blue. How did it work now? I forget how it goes now. Maybe it is actually. Oh, pee off. Whoops. Was it green? Oh, alright, okay. So it's only has to be. I thought it worked in red, green, blue. I forget now. There you go, that's quite bright, isn't it? Ugh. Maybe I should drop that to about 20 in hex. Green. I think you could do it with green, couldn't you? You could VB green, is it? So we go VB green. Yeah, I think you could. There you go. Oh. That's a bit gross. But if I put it with a text background being turn off 3D and make the background black or a darker colour. That should just stand out better. That's better. That is green, isn't it? Right. So you get that one. Right, so there you go. That's Visual Basic Green. We need to take that, copy. We need to pop it in that one, and then in this particular one, we're going to activate it, but we want it to be red. So what'll happen now is it'll go bing, and it'll go to red, off. Actually, I'm a pillock. You know what I've done, haven't you? It should be that. This here, what should be changing colour, but it don't matter. I'm just giving it demonstration purposes. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add the quick labeling code. So I'm just going to reshift that. I'm going to put that there like that, and I'm just going to resize the box to there so it's nice and clean. We'll just turn it off. Fix dialog, that'll do. And we'll go back to the form, and we want it to be centralized. So we'll put Windows state normal, and then we'll have it centralized, center screen. So basically it'll end up in the middle of the screen. Well, we usually would be. Oh right, has it not processed it? Okay. Ah, okay, what's going on there? It crashed out? That's not good, is it? What are you doing? Oh, there you go. Hey, what's going on here? Did I send it up to... Well, have I minimized it? Oh! Why has it done that? I thought I left it as normal. Alright, okay. No, that's why it minimized it. So in other words, it'll just end up in the middle of the screen like that. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to take it, we're going to do the timer. So, label, and this is just a simple one, label data.caption, whoops, caption equals format, string is it? Yeah. Expression format, so now, we'll go day, date, month, year, hours, minutes, AM, is it AM, PM like that? I forget how it goes now. PM. Now that's what that should do, is should show the day, the date, month, and the year, and the time. There you go. It's not quite right because I always got the font wrong. So let's just change the font size. Actually, I can just resize the box because you want to get the full dynamic of it. I'll just put it like that. See, this is it. You can just do the cleaning round now. The thing with labels is you can be any size. It's text boxes you can't really fill with unless you adjust the settings. Just me thinking out loud. Dink. So there you go. And start. Dink. So it's Sunday 12th January 25th. Okay. We'll do it the American way. Right, okay, so it's month, Yeah. Like that. That's about right, isn't it? And that would be the American style. I think January 12th. Yeah, that's right. You can actually add another character if I wanted to here. I could go crib. Where's the at statement? Where's the at statement? Whoops. Character string 13, which gives it a carriage return. And there you go. We can take that hash off now. So if I just start, let's do the start. Ding. There you go. January 12th. And it's what it'll do is when it gets over to PM, that'll switch change to PM. If I stop, obviously, you know, obviously I've got this mixed up. I actually should have linked that box to the actual the button instead of the box to the label, but it gives you the idea. Yeah, it's alright, that. Very simple little program compared to some of the stuff I was doing over the years. You can do all sorts with this programming language. I was developing skins for it. I was developing databases, text editors, HTML editors, you name it. I was doing the lot. I even wrote a programming language in it. So that's how versatile this programming language was. I don't think it centralizes the box. It doesn't. I don't know. I can't. I don't think it does. It just centralizes to the top. Okie dokie. Anyway, guys, we're going to call it a day, seeing as it's been a long one and I've been chatting a lot. We're going to call it a day. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And if you want any more information or you want any help with anything, give us a call. You know where I am. I usually will reply to my messages. Give me a day or two because of the time constraints. And usually at a weekend I'll play video. Well, mostly through the week I play video games because as you can see, most of the stuff I do, apart from this kind of stuff, I do a lot of video games, playing video games, testing new video games out, cracked video games, you name it, I do it all. Right, guys, love you and leave you. Take care. Have a good weekend, whatever you're up to, if it's still a weekend. And I will see you. Oh, right, okay. I'll tell you what. Before we go, I'll show you this one. Right, okay. So we'll go to the desktop, and I'll just call it time 1. Timed like that. That'll do. I don't think there's no restrictions. You could just use. You could change all that information. I don't need to do that. Okay. There we go. And we go timed. Yeah. Let's go timed. Timed. That'll do. There we go. And we've got the built up exe. All it's doing is using the files which is on the Visual Studio, because it's all linked into the programming language. But I think you could take that. I think you could take this file and run it on other programs. But if it requires certain libraries, it will require you to set up a build of it. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you. Take care. You know where I am. If you like what I do, add me. Do a comment. Mostly 99% of the time I'll answer. Right, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.